my God.
Let's see.
Okay.
There's
And
the
this is
wildlife.
poster. And the poster is essentially about two things. It's about how we're destroying Appalachia. Okay? Because
This is a little book of it.
the coal is from Appalachia, and it's also about how we all, in consuming more electricity than we have to, are helping to the destroyal of this habitat.
Debbie should be here.
Yeah, well, I'll give it to Debbie again. And if you see, it tells a story both horizontally and vertically. Here's the watershed, okay? And here's the native forest. And if you look at the details, you see a little ant, and it's harvesting coal. And it's because even the Cherokee Indians use coal. Okay. But here you have in the dark the primitive forest without planes, satellites, whatever, okay? And here the carrier pigeons, you see how they become transparent and they become extinct? And then you have, these are the European starlings flying in, okay? The first non-natives bringing in the culture. There's no people here. You have the typical representation of Appalachian cultures. These are the primitive, like it existed before, okay? And again, these are the Europeans coming in. They're bringing in arms, they're bringing in music, they're bringing in agriculture, they're bringing in medicines. And they come in and they still have a sustainable community. Okay, the original Irish, Scottish, because they live off the land, okay? And you have like this fox playing the dulcimer, and you have them playing the African bongo, and you have a subsistence culture. But what happens is that additional European migration comes in, okay, represented by these birds, and they start quarreling, you can see, okay? And you start having we are just about making money, profit, and development, you know, the classical presentation. These are the bird cages of the slaves that are being brought in. You have the railroad coming in. You have the company towns. They're starting to just have the workmen being paid with scripts. You can see the railroad here. And you start the mining. Now there's these two that are fighters. They start taking the Indian lands. They have the broad deed where they sell apart the land on top and the mineral rights. And then they take all the Cherokee Indians. This is symbolic of the Trail of Tears. Okay, they evacuated all the Indians in 1836 to Oklahoma. Okay, and you start the strip mining. And the strip mining employed a lot of people. It employed 50 years ago, there were 150,000 people employed. Now there are only 15,000 coal miners. So it isn't true that Appalachia lives off coal. Because what's happened with the coal is that from going to the deep mining, they're now mining with this apparatus which is 22 stories high. Because it's veins of coal. And instead of the deep mining, they're doing what's called the strip mining, the mountaintop removal, which is what this poster is about. And they take the mountains, and they literally take the top, they take the topsoil and they dump it, okay, in waterways. And by the way, the Appalachian, all the rivers that feed both Atlanta and Washington, D.C. originate in Appalachia. So this pollution that they're creating, you know, by getting these slurry ponds is going to pollute everything. Here you have the frogs are symbolic of the miners. You have the miner using dynamite to explore the coal, and then he has a backache and he's sick, so he goes to the doctor. Here's the doctor who gives him medicine, those prescription pills. His baby, you know, the water's already polluted, you know, the vegetables are dying, and he runs out of money buying the medicines and he goes back to work. Beatriz is a botanical illustrator, so if you look at the plants, anyone who's a botanist can tell you exactly
Yeah.
what everything is. This is an American chestnut and, you know, all the local, everything. This is Mother Jones.
He's on the table.
Like it.
This is Mother Jones, who's one of the first women who stood up, activists, and who actually broke into the company store to get food for her starving children. And you see the pollution, and this is us.
I love the consumption.
The consumers. The compulsive consumers, okay?
That's Ruby.
That are
Ruby's sister.
creating something, and everything we buy can't be fixed. It gets all
Gets
thrown
dumped
out.
in the landfill.
Which is what we're polluting, and we're creating the landfill. And here these scenes here are the first resistance, okay? These are people like Beatriz who are coming into Appalachia. They studied and met with people for about 6 months. They're activists. They come in, and these are the local people who are organizing. And there really are people trying to, you
Like
know,
Debbie.
all the insects, yeah, who are trying to resist, okay? And as you see, this is the coal. One of the problems, of course, is the new Go Green, clean coal exists. You know, you're doing great by having the
Carbon
buying the
credits.
green grocery bags, when in fact, you're consuming excessive electricity, and 50% of U.S. electricity is coal powered. So you have a system where we have to reduce our consumption, besides the fact that they're destroying Appalachia and the watershed. And we have this balance where, you know, we don't want to be oil dependent, so we mine the coal. One of the other problems with coal is that, as you well know, coal is a filter. So what it filters out, it cleans water, like the Brita filters. But what it cleans out of the water is all the hard metals and mercury. Because of the Clean Air Act, they now take out the metals from the coal, okay? Not all of it, but so the air is cleaner. But what happens with all the hard metals, that's what gets put back in the grounds in the slurry ponds, okay? So we're literally polluting all of the watershed here, which is what this represents. And as I said, this is the beginning of the resistance. And the way the poster ends is, this is the future, okay? It's the idea that we can restore back to a natural habitat. You have WAFs who are building community housing, and they actually have a printing press. You have local radio stations which are taking hold of their information. You have, where's Nicole? Nicole, you know you're here. There's a CSA box. Here, this is Nicole.
There you go.
Community shared agriculture.
That's
Local produce and
have your box
taking it
right
into
there.
here. Because the idea is you want all the energy and all the production to be local. You have all the people who left, the kids who abandoned Appalachia, you know, coming back, okay? You have making soil, okay? Growing your own vegetables.
Get the wind.
You have, you know, the seed beds. You have, instead of the Trail of Tears going down, you have the people returning to
Animals
Appalachia.
making peace.
And one of the things they do is they've created, these are solutions to the problem. They've created like community kitchens, industrial kitchens that are follow the state standards, and then everyone comes in and cooks. And these representations are the 7 generations. They believe that you have to look back 3 generations and look forward 3 generations. So you have the great-grandma, the grandma, this is the menopausal woman, the baby, and the one just gestating. And you have to look 3 generations ahead and 3 generations forward. And needless to say, every single animal here has an explanation and a story and a reason. And that's
Incredible.
She
And then 1 year?
2 other
1
artists
year.
worked on for, I mean, I think they grew straight for 18 months.
Wow.
It took them a full year.
This is an
It is